welcome back to Vinyl Friday, where I go through my records in alphabetical order like a big nerd and talk about why I love them. Today we're going to be looking at, you guessed it, another album in the David Crosby verse. Now, to those of you who are despairing because you hate Crosby, Stills and Nash, 1, I don't much fancy your tastes, and 2, don't fear, we'll be returning to the Rubber Soul journey in a fortnight, so the end is nigh. Whatever that means to you. Today's album is Graham Nash, David Crosby. This one's got quite a cool jacket because this is a window, and also it opens up this way to this beautiful photo of two hands playing two guitars together over 2 cups of probably coffee. Graham Nash is British, so maybe he's drinking tea. I'm a tea drinker myself. Anyway, let's have a quick listen to what this album sounds like.
What will the passenger do when he hears?
Oh, that is such a crunchy harmony. We're not doing that song today, though.
Where do I go from here? Because it make it much too hard. Love you, love you. Your breath is scraping your brain into dust. Your rusty old engine is ready to bust.
That one's great too. It's still not the one we're doing. God, this is a good album. There are so many songs from this album that I would love to do, and maybe at some point in the future I'll come back and revisit. Don't worry, not anytime in the next fortnight. Because I really feel like some of David Crosby's best songwriting is buried away on this album that people don't know as well as some of the other ones. So although the song that I'm going to be doing today isn't as well known as the one I looked at last week, it is one of my all-time favorite David Crosby songs. So I'm so very passionately excited to go over it today. This is the song.
Look around again.
And it's called Page 43. And I felt like it was very fitting because this is Vinyl Friday number 43. Wild. This was a spur of the moment thing that I decided to do late last year, so it's crazy to me that there are 43 of these. This song grew on me. I didn't always love it. I had this album for several years and had listened to it off and on a couple of times, and then my band Tweed, that's T-W-E-E-D, like the fabric, subtle plug, we played at a festival, played our set, we got off stage, and this woman approached me. I was wearing this sweater here, which I love, and I basically only wear as pajamas now because I wore it to death. But this was a few years back and it was in pristine condition. She came up to me and she said, "That's David Crosby on your sweater," as though I didn't know. Great conversation starter, and to be fair to her, there are only 2 people in my life in my tenure as a David Crosby sweater wearer who has recognized that that is who is on my sweater. Totally unsolicited, she started singing some David Crosby songs to me. She was like, "Do you know this song? It's such a good song." I had no idea what song it was until I caught some of the lyrics, and it was this song. It was Page 43. I don't remember her name. Let's call her Carol. Carol just wasn't necessarily the best singer, but she was a very passionate singer, and for that I think she deserves some credit. So shout out to Mystery Carol for your very emphatic performance of this song, because thanks to Carol, after the festival I went home and I put this record on and I realized what an incredible song this was. Page 43 isn't from a real book, but of course fans took it and ran with it and decided that it was the New Testament and it was this book and it was that book.
You know, I've had people come up to me with more wild guesses about what book Page 43 is in. It's not. There's a lot of nut butter out there in the world.
It's not a real book. It's just 43 rhymes with "it's got to be." What this song is actually about is essentially a 3-minute meditation on the idea of carpe diem. Solid piece of life advice from David Crosby here. I love this song so much. It's beautiful. Generally speaking, what I love about this song is that everything that happens musically in this song is in service of that message. Let's get into it. All throughout this song, the music and the lyrics work together in harmony. not literal harmony, although there is a lot of that. The first thing that I'd like to point out is that the arrangement musically of the song, production of the song, is very, very sparse. Let's have a listen to what's happening in terms of the instrumentation of this song. Guitar, piano, drums, bass, vocal. At some point backing vocals are going to come in, but otherwise that is everything that's happening in the song. If you break that down a little bit further, in addition to there not being a whole lot of different instruments on the recording, all of the instruments that are in the recording are not actually doing very much at all. For example, listen to how the piano just lays out the chord and isn't really playing around with it too much. It's just playing the chord. The drum is just kick and snare. It's just keeping time. It's basically a click track. No offense, Russ Kunkel, who was playing the drums on this album and has a great name. Russ Kunkel. Drums. Chord.
It's the same.
Meditative. Calm. The instruments establish what the chord is and then just let it sit. Like there. Or here. Everyone just sits tight. The bass is playing single notes. Leland Sklar, another great name, real hero of a session musician, plays on everything. At the very end of this video, so that I don't interrupt myself too much more, I'll make a list of some of the artists that Leland Sklar has played with, because his resume is amazing. Also, he looks like a wizard and his name's really cool. Enough on Leland Sklar. He's not doing very much in this track. He's just playing single notes, and that is it. That's all the bass is doing. All of this to say, the band members are making space for David Crosby's voice, for his words, for the message of the song. Here's another thing. The song is lyrically and musically poignant. Everything about it is so emotive. I'm really struggling a little bit with this one because I just like it too much. And that reminds me of a thing that happened. I'm going to tell a Beatles anecdote. I didn't actually do music at university. I was an English major. I took all of these sort of tangential music papers for fun, and one of them was about like a history of Western music. And I had the opportunity to write an essay about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the album, and it was my worst mark at university. I think because I just had too many Beatles facts and I liked it too much and I knew it too well. I guess I couldn't organize my ideas very well. I think it was just like a stream of consciousness, much as this channel is, but at university you're marked on your ability to put together a thesis, and I don't know that, obviously I didn't do that convincingly because I got a C and I was devastated. Beatles aside, I guess the problem that I'm having here is that the song is big on the feelings, and that makes it difficult to translate into words. Here, I'll try again. Let's listen to some choice moments lyrically in the song.
That you should grab a hold of it, else you'll find it's past you by.
Grab a hold of it. It's don't sit by idly. Don't be a secondary character in your own life. Embrace it fully because you don't know how long it's gonna last. And you don't know if there's anything to come afterwards, for certain. The river can be hot or cold, and you should dive right into it. Else you'll find it's passed you by. This is not a song about sitting back and enjoying life as it happens to you, as it washes over you. This is about being an active participant. Grab a hold of it. Dive right into it. Do whatever it is that you're gonna do, so long as you're not hurting anyone. But do it with passion, damn it. Get the most out of it. We are finite.
The question is not how much time you have. The question is, what are you going to do with that time?
Before you know it, it's over. And the music is written to match that level of poignancy. First off, it's possibly David Crosby's most emotive delivery. In my opinion, I think this is one of his best vocal performances. Here are some examples.
It says right here on page 43, river can be hot or cold.
Now that I think about it, that's the line that woman sang to me. The river! And I think she made the same faces that I just made there. A little trill at the end. I love that. The next thing is these very effective backing vocals. In previous episodes, I've mentioned that a thing that I love about David Crosby and Graham Nash in their vocal arrangements, they do really unique and interesting things with it. And this is not one of the songs in which they're doing that. These are a lot of oohs. But the harmonies are so crunchy. They're singing all of these upper extensions, as I mentioned last week, so songs that are outside of the main chord. If they did anything else to it, it might actually sound too busy. They're thick, and they're textured and layered and complex, nuanced, as is life. That was maybe a little naff, but my point still stands. Let's listen to the last verse.
And gold, it'll make you
swell and they move around. They just sort of follow behind David Crosby's voice. They build the emotion of the song. The last thing that I think illustrates how mature and profound this song is something that I'm gonna get the piano correspondent to demonstrate. I'll see you when you get back. Well, hey there. So last week I started talking about upper extensions. Let's say you want to make the chord of E major. You need these 3 chords to make E major. Beyond that, you can add as much as you want and it changes the color and the emotion behind the chord. And those additions are called upper extensions. The reason I'm telling you this is that David Crosby uses them all throughout the song. And it gives the song this sense of gravitas, of maturity. Here's what I mean. I'm going to play the chords at the beginning of the verse, and then I'm going to play them with the upper extensions. So those are just all of the straight chords. He's playing them like this. These little flavor accents make the song just a little bit more interesting, but also just a little bit more contemplative. This is the last way that I think the music in this song acts in service to the lyrical message. The build-up at the end of the chorus, this is like the crux of the song. This is David Crosby's central thesis. And what I think the arrangement is doing here, I think it's called word painting.
Editor Nancy here. Word painting, also known as tone painting or text painting, is the musical technique of composing music that reflects the literal meaning of the song's lyrics or story elements.
That's what's happening in the chorus of this song. The instruments are building, they're stepping up, the chords are stepping up, and it's about how like big and full and exciting life can be. How messy and how busy and like there's just so much to it. It's so complicated, it's so multifaceted. And then at the end of the chorus, everything falls away. It's passed you by. Your time's up. And then the next verse starts up. It's a roller coaster. Check it out.
You should dive right into it. Else you'll find it's passed you by.
Emptiness. It's over. Go hang out with the piano correspondent some more. The chorus of the song is so wonderful. It's the point of difference when the rest of the song is just verses that are essentially identical musically. The way that they are built is through a thing called dynamics, which is basically how loud or soft you're playing as a musician. They start at a moderate volume and end up very loud. The chords are already stepping up. They're doing this. If you add the chords in there, it sounds like this. But what the pianist is doing, forgotten his name, Editor Nancy, what's the pianist's name? Put it here for me. What's his name? Right here. Cool, thank you. What the pianist is doing in this part is playing an E at the top so that it sounds like it's walking up steps. He's doing a thing called pedaling, I think it's called. Again, don't trust me, I'm not a music major. I'm just a big old fanatic like this. If you take that and then you add dynamic on top of it, this is what you get. And then everything drops away into nothingness. this is really solid songwriting. You've got a lyrical message, and then you write a song around it that holds it up and makes it as clear as possible. It communicates itself to you on multiple planes, intellectual, emotional. It's just, yeah, great songwriting. It's a little bit of a tangent. Another thing that I love about this song is that it sounds like a very simple song because there isn't a whole lot going on in terms of the arrangement, but the chords are really unusual. We're getting to see a lot of the piano correspondent this week, but you're gonna go hang out with her some more because she's gonna break down the chords and explain why they're not simple and why that lends itself to the beauty of this song. In order to illustrate why I think this chord structure is so special, I'll need to explain that songs have a key. That's sort of what their home chord is. It's what you return to. Typically, when you're writing music, you start in that key and you end in that key. There are millions and millions of examples. Here are just a few. If you take a song like Don't Stop Believing by Journey, the key that the song's in, the home chord that we keep coming back to is this. The song ends up kind of in this place. Don't stop believing. And it starts in this place. Just a small town girl. So the home key that we come back to is the same one that we're listening to in the chorus. Here's some other examples. I'm a Believer ends up here.
Then I saw her face.
And starts, I thought love was only true in fairy tales. There's your home key. Starts there, ends there. Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. Ends here. Starts here.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time for talk.
And of course, one of my all-time favorites, Hey Jude. Starts, Hey Jude, in the same key. On the other hand, there are some songs begin in an entirely different place to where they're going to end up. If you want a masterclass in that, or indeed in songwriting generally, ABBA is your teacher.
Editor's note, I am 100% serious. This very song is a perfect example of exactly what I'm describing.
This David Crosby song is a fantastic example of that. This is our home key. So the chorus wants to return here. The song doesn't start there. It starts here. What? It goes to all of these different places. It takes us on a real journey, like life. You see? It says right here on page 43. The song evokes a slightly different feeling retrospectively in the context of what happened with David Crosby's life.
I wasted probably 10 years more just in being stoned. And not happy stoned like a pothead, desperate stoned like a junkie.
In the context of all of that, we have this sort of dramatic irony as listeners because we know what comes next, but given that this is from 1972, really feels like a cautionary note to self.
Time is the final currency, not money, not power.
Throughout his life, he constantly reiterated that point. The other reason that I think this is hitting me particularly at the moment is that I have a birthday this month. Piano correspondent here. I'm going to hijack the channel for a second. I felt really emotional learning this piece. I sat down this morning to sort of figure out how the chords go, and I found myself just jamming to it for half an hour or so. It just was really feeling it. I found myself getting a little bit teary-eyed. Because the message of the song, it really comes through strongly in the music. Got a lot out of this one. Yeah. Birthdays always give me a cause to reflect on my learnings and reckon with my impending mortality. You know, obviously more so as I get older. I think that's the case for most people. And so the idea of grabbing at everything with both hands while you have the opportunity, because you don't know when you're not going to have the opportunity anymore, that idea is really hitting home. I think in my case that looks like making videos about my record collection. So I don't know, I guess maybe I feel like I'm doing something right with this little channel and this little community that's building. My question to the community today would be, do you have a song that you feel inspires you to live life as best and as hard as you can? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious. That's everything from me. If you would like to support any of my strange endeavors, be it talking about my records or amateur green screening,
Will you be bold to find the right thread through this wrong? Make it true, make it so.
or even as just a nice happy birthday as I confront the shelf life of my existence. I'll leave a link in the description. Feel free to make a donation to my Buy Me a Coffee page, but don't feel obliged. Just if the urge strikes you, no pressure. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you here next week. Have a great weekend!
The ups and downs, and you should dance in the middle. It's best to back.
Oh, so good.